Please subscribe. Disregard the confined wagons and box fans with chapel seats furrowing, starting with one family excursion then on to the next. Family vehicles today like the 2020 Hyundai Palisade hybrids are extravagant rides with space for up to 8 and about the same number of USB ports to charge telephones for constant interruption. With the Palisade, Hyundai has its greatest vehicle to date, and maybe it's generally agreeable. It gets a 7.3 out of 10. Accessible in SC, Cell, and limited evaluations, the Palisade costs in any event $35,500 and beat out around $50,000 in with no reservations. It's one of the most expressive structures from Hyundai to date, and that says a great deal. Contrasted with the Kia Telluride, with which the Palisade shares quite a bit of its running rigging, the Palisade descends off the mountain and into reality. The Hyundai is milder, with progressively exquisite contacts, confirmed by its glossy silk-completed grille and chrome kickup on the body sides. The back vertical tail lights finish with the tall headlights began. The Palisade is wide and looks more extensive. In the engine of the Palisade is a 291 drive, 3.8-liter V6 and 8-speed program that lean towards a casual pace, in spite of the fact that it's groundbreaking enough to go at interstate speeds and tow as much as 5,000 pounds. The powertrain returns joint efficiency in the low 20s, however a superior ride. The Hyundai is comfortable and peaceful, quiet and gathered on about each street. Contrasted with the Kia, it's milder and smoother. Tires and one-of-a-kind dampers cover street flaws. The Palisade is large outside and huge inside, as well. Every one of the 3 columns can oblige full-size grown-ups, in spite of the fact that the initial 2 are more qualified for the errand. Base models convey up to 8, in spite of the fact that cell forms can sub in skipper seats for nothing. Limited forms just move with 7. The Palisade punches up in material quality on all forms, however top trims do sensible extravagance impressions. Meager materials are all around covered up and most surfaces are delicate to the touch. With every one of the 3 columns of seats set up, the Palisade holds up to 18 cubic feet of payload. Drop push 3 in net increments to 47 blocks. Up to 86.4 cubic feet are accessible behind the main column. Standard programmed crisis slowing down, dynamic path control, and leaving sensors are the standard for family vehicles nowadays, and Hyundai fits them to each Palisade. It can likewise include vulnerable side screens, and cameras, as well, GPS-based programmed speed limiters, an Encompass C camera framework, a head-up show, and front-stopping sensors for more cash. Hyundai charges about $32,500 for a base SE with front-wheel drive and incorporates 18-inch wheels, programmed crisis slowing down, dynamic path control, seats for 8, fabric upholstery, and a 8.0-inch touchscreen for infotainment with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto similarity. Including all-wheel drive adds $1,700 to the primary concern of any Palisade. The 2020 Palisade starts another structure time for Hyundai, relocating endlessly from the equality of their past hybrids. It's more lavish than the related Kia Telluride, regardless of whether it's far busier. It's a 7. In advance, the Palisade's one-of-a-kind face has a reptilian quality, and we don't mean our profound situated aggregate oblivious. The vertical, organized LED daytime headlights that drive away from the grille are unmistakable, maybe disruptive, as well, and Hyundai fashioners consider them the vehicle's crocodile eyes. The Palisade's grille is forcing and upstanding, a honeycomb design encircled by silver-painted plastic that is surprisingly solid. Engineers built up a fluid silver paint process that confers the get-done with a matte, tough look that is, as far as anyone knows, impervious to chipping. Split headlights, start to finish, push the Palisade's mark toward the corners. In obscurity, it peruses significantly more extensive than the hybrid's 77.8-inch width would show. Along the body sides, chrome trim skips show. Rather than sketching out the windows, the chrome trim plunges pointedly toward the back wheel. Alongside dark plastic close to the edges of the back traveler entryways, the chrome's commitment is a visual stunt intended to make the rooftop column look greater and more grounded. Hyundai's planners, quickly, the Palisade is sufficiently extreme. Around back, a similar vertical components from the front edge the back taillights. A huge, square Palisade identification ranges the wide liftgate over a short back guard and uncovered fumes. Inside, the Palisade's work-day-by-wire transmission managed architects more space in the middle armrest for capacity and plan. 4 catches for P, R, N, and D fold pleasantly close to the driver underneath atmosphere control handles and nearby a rotational territory selector. The Palisade's dashboard and trim format are level and to a great extent whole, the Great Plains sans corn. The driver's instruments, alternatively a 12.3-inch advanced showcase, stream conveniently to the huge 8.0-inch touchscreen for infotainment, alternatively 10.3 inches. Material upholstery is standard on most trims and Tony cowhide treatment is saved for top trims. Only one out of every odd family vehicle should be a games vehicle and the other way around. The 2020 Palisade's rich ride is the place it sparkles, despite the fact that its influence is sufficient. We give it a point better than expected for elegance. It's a 6. The Palisade is only fueled by a 3.8-liter V6 and 8-speed program that drives the front or every one of the 4 wheels, contingent upon your requirements and profundity of pockets. The trusty 291 horsepower V6 transports the Palisade around town and at throughway speeds unquestionably and has astonishing mid-run punch for goes somewhere in the range of 60 and 80 miles per hour once the transmission kicks down a rigging or two. That transmission is a 8-speed program that is more than capable. In the Palisade's numerous drive modes, Comfort, Eco, Sport, Snow, and Smart, the transmission carries on properly and controlling wheel-mounted or shifters riffle through riggings for climbs or drops. At the point when outfitted with all-wheel drive, which is a $1,700 upcharge, the Palisade is sure-footed, in spite of the fact that its long and wide measurements aren't really trail accommodating. An AWD lock mode can compel torque to the back wheels, up to 40 miles per hour. The AWD framework parts torque front to back, up to 50% toward the back, and enables the Palisade to scramble up dusty streets or frigid carports. The Palisade's mystery ingredient is its comfortable ride. In spite of the fact that it imparts numerous segments to the Kia Telluride, the Palisade's dampers and wheels aren't among them. The Palisade's ride is more pillowy, with a lot of lean around corners, and protected. Standard 18-inch tires are delicate, in spite of the fact that the limited form, discretionary on sale, gets 20 inches that are similarly as excusing. The Palisade is evaluated to tow as much as 5,000 pounds, which is sufficient for a little trailer or vessel. A standard burden leveling back suspension enables the Hyundai to drag all the more certainly, with less squat. We'll take the long route in the 2020 Hyundai Palisade. Hyundai's greatest hybrid to date is agreeable for companions, families, toxic acquaintances, and every other person you might need to drag around. It's extensive in each of the 3 lines with space for freight, as well. It's a 9. By the numbers, it estimates 196.1 creeps from packed in, with 114.2 crawls between the wheel center points, and 77.8 creeps from side to side. Just the Ford Explorer is quantifiably greater in its group. Despite the fact that the front seat riders get the most agreeable seats, we wouldn't resent riding in the back. The second push seats slide fore and behind for more extra space to move around in the second or third columns, maximize the subsequent line gets in excess of 40 creeps of room to breathe. All Palisades, paying little heed to trim level, get a one-contact power sliding second column that makes passage into the third line simpler, considerably more so with the shaped snatch handles. Once on board, third push riders get generally liberal space for their legs, to such an extent that a 6'3" editorial manager could sit behind somebody of equivalent size in the subsequent line, behind somebody of equivalent size in the main line, no less. The third push seating position is knees up more than the initial 2 lines, however there's simply enough head space to fit most. 3 over the third line is yearning, however it's sensible for large children in any case. The majority within recent memory in the driver's seat has been spent in cell or limited models, with great material quality in the 2 forms. Palisade limited variants pile on expected common luxuries, delicate cowhide and dressy shades, engineered softened cowhide main event, extraordinary wood completes, and delicate touch materials flourish. With each of the 3 columns of seats set up, the Palisade holds 18 cubic feet of freight. With the subsequent line collapsed, it develops to 45.8 3D shapes with up to 86.4 cubic feet accessible behind the main column. The 2020 Hyundai Palisade comes standard with dynamic security includes and earned good grades in crash testing from the FS and the NHTSA. Palisade procures a 9 of 10. The new 3-push SUV earned a top safety pick plus from the Protection Business supported FS. It got top grade scores on each of the 6 accident security tests, and its standard programmed crisis slowing mechanism was appraised predominant at maintaining a strategic distance from forward accidents at 12 and 25 miles per hour. The proviso to the honor is that lone explicit trims of the Palisade have headlights that meet all requirements for the TSP Plus assignment, which is the best in the business. The F said that Palisade Limited and Palisade Cell models outfitted with LED projector lights meet all requirements for the honor, while the Palisade SE and Palisade Cell models with standard halogen headlights got thumped down a rating to minimal by the organization. The 2020 Palisade likewise earned a main 5-star rating from the NHTSA, however it got 4 stars on the rollover test, which is basic for SUVs. All Palisades are outfitted with programmed crisis slowing down, backstopping sensors, and dynamic path control. The last is prepared on numerous contenders, in spite of the fact that it's not really basic among every single new vehicle. Spend-up trim levels include vulnerable side screens, an Encompass C camera framework, head-up D,